inside me. Inside me. What's inside me? What's in fucking inside me?
There's a monster in your chest. It's really nasty. And in a few hours, it's gonna burst its way through your rib cage. And you're gonna die.
What's in fucking inside me?
What's up, headbangers? Welcome to another episode of Heavy Metal 101 Reviews. Today we're not going to be reacting or reviewing a song. Instead, we have a very special guest. We have Kristof Bathory, frontman of the band Dawn of Ashes, which we did do a reaction to. They recently released a new album called Scars of the Broken, and they'll be hitting the road very soon, I think in a couple weeks, to do a tour to support the new album. So welcome, Kristof.
Thank you.
So, can you tell us what is the most difficult part of prepping for your tour, or what's the most difficult thing that you have to do to bring your show to a live audience?
I mean, as far as a tour goes, I mean, I guess it depends on the tour. For instance, the tour that's about to happen, I'm basically managing the whole tour. So I think that makes it very intense for me, because not only do I have to perform, but I have to make sure that the whole tour, functions properly. But, the whole making sure that everybody's on point, and that I think the most nerve-wracking thing is making sure that every show is functional and it goes the way that we plan it to, because it's not always the way that we want it to, we imagine it to be. So we just try to put all of our energy as much as we can for each show.
Yeah, I would say from experience, you guys have an awesome live show. I saw you guys back in 2010 when you opened for Dimmu Borgir down in up in Detroit.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know who you guys were. I went to see Dimmu Borgir, but you guys blew me away. And I was a fan from that point on. And I remember trying to find you guys and, find your music. And then I found the Sacred Fever album, and I was like, I don't know if this is the same band or not, and then I started getting into that. And then the Crypt Injection, and that like opened my eyes to a whole new style of music, stuff like Grendel and Suicide Commando. So, I thank you for that.
Yeah, I watched your guys' review on the last song, and I heard the whole the whole thing about, we have this side where we can do both extreme metal and then agrotech, and coming from a background from starting off in hardcore metal bands, it's always been something I wanted to incorporate into Dawn of Ashes. I just feel that the time where you actually saw us perform is, I should have kept the industrial side in it, which I feel like that's what we're doing now, or we've been doing it for a couple of years now. But it's just been a lot of experimenting over the years, which has been interesting.
Was that a conscious change that you made to incorporate the heavy metal, the extreme metal into your music, or did that happen organically, or?
When I started Dawn of Ashes in 2001, I don't know if you remember a band called The Covenant with a K. It was like ex-members of Dimmu Borgir, and they were like an industrial black metal group.
I do.
but I was heavily into, I don't remember which album it was called, and I kind of wanted to do that when I first started Dawn of Ashes. And I've always had a issue with dealing with other musicians. So at that point, I was going to a lot of the goth industrial clubs and kind of getting more heavily into bands like that. So I started Dawn of Ashes as kind of my own thing. I didn't want to deal with anybody. But over the years, I was just kind of missing the whole. I mean, there's always been metal influence from the beginning, even like with the earlier stuff, like how we were on stage, the energy and everything. But I think over the years, I wanted a more of a band again, a full on band and incorporating guitars and all of that. I just feel like I kind of went full force with the extreme metal thing instead of kind of gradually implementing metal into the industrial, which, like I said, we're doing it now. So it's always been a thing from the beginning. It's just I don't know. Like I said, lots of experimenting.
I would say, kind of looking forward. I mean, what serves as the foundation for your music? Is it the synthesizers followed by kind of the other instrumentation, or is it vice versa, or it just kind of depends on the song?
I think it just depends on the song. Like I feel like this last album, Scars of the Broken, it was very based on the emotions and my own personal conflicts that kind of drove the music. I mean, I was writing the music at the time, but I feel like a lot of the emotions created the vibe of the album. So I guess it just depends which album.
Yeah, I could tell the personalness of that album. I mean, that hit me hard. I felt a certain sort of way about that album, and it cut pretty deep, but it was refreshing at the same time.
Right.
I think it's great when an album can do that. Typo Negative's World Coming Down had that same kind of effect on me, where you could feel the artist's emotions just kind of consuming you. It's an awesome feeling.
Right. I mean, like the same effect happened with Downward Spiral, which is like my all-time favorite album. So
So besides Nine Inch Nails, what are some other artists that inspire you?
I mean, I think it's mainly albums, but I would say Fear Factory, Demanufacture,
Oh,
um, Timo Berger, Death Called Armageddon, earlier Cradle of Filth, Ministry. I don't know. Each album just has like so many random different influences. Like Scars of the Broken, there was like Depeche Mode that was a huge influence. I know a lot of people can't hear it, but I was listening to a lot of Depeche Mode when writing this album. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's just various black metal, death metal, hardcore. Hatebreed and Bleeding Through is another influence.
yeah, I could see that with the heavy keyboards. I always liked how Bleeding Through incorporated that into their music because it's not
Right.
supposed to fit, but it does exceedingly well.
Yeah, I think also like the Acacia Strain was a big influence on the last album, especially with like the breakdowns.
I was
how
um I
about
was I was reading
go ahead.
about the song EMDR, and it tackles kind of the epidemic of depression that's kind of gripped our society. It seems. I guess that was based on a personal experience, something that you went through. Would you be open to talking about that process?
So prior to writing this album, I was doing EMDR. It was practice. It was, and when I went through it, I kind of went into this like nightmare sort of trance where I was kind of reliving certain events that have happened to me in the past. And it was just, I just kind of crashed after that. I kind of went down this hole. And then this is where all this writing came out of this album. And all of a sudden, like the whole music video idea kind of just came out of me, and it was a very intense experience for me. So, like I said, every song on Scars of the Broken there's nothing fake about it. It's stuff that I've been through and I've been through for years, and it's like I didn't really know how this album was going to do. It was just something I had to do, and it was so emotionally draining that I said I wasn't going to write another Dawn of Ashes album after this, because it was just like I had like mental breakdowns during the writing process. And a lot of people ask me how you're going to even like perform this album on stage, and it's just a lot of shit that I didn't really want to kind of delve into. And I just was like, music has always been therapeutic for me. So I was like, I might as well fucking just dump all these like deep, dark emotions into this album and make it as real as possible.
Was that writing process and recording process at least somewhat therapeutic, or did it have kind of an adverse effect?
I mean, yes. I mean, because I was able to kind of like create. To me, I feel like this album's our best album in my opinion. Um, and I feel like it's because of that reason that I was able to kind of just like inject all these emotions into this. So I would say it's like 50-50, because yeah, it felt great to create these amazing songs, but at the same time, it's like uh, I didn't really want to deal with it. So,
I appreciate you sharing that with us.
right.
Yeah, I think it's a great album. I wasn't familiar with with your music at all until me and Chris did that song, and I went and listened to the whole album. I think it's a great album, and the videos are awesome. I love how they're like horror movies. I know at one point in your life you aspired to be a special effects artist for horror movies. So can you tell us? Me and Chris, we're big movie guys too. Can you tell us some of your favorite horror movies?
It's a pretty huge list, so I'll see how I can kind of slim it down. I mean, I'm a huge John Carpenter fan, so one of my top favorite movies is In the Mouth of Madness, um, Prince of Darkness, The Fog, The Thing, um, fucking Hellraiser, Pumpkinhead, Pet Cemetery. I mean, I can go on, and then I like a lot of sci-fi horror. So, Aliens, the Alien series, definitely some of my top favorites as well. But I mean, I can keep going. I've been watching horror movies since I was 4. So,
Is there any movies that are kind of under the radar that you would highly recommend that most people haven't seen?
new or old?
Either or.
I mean, there's a ton, I'm sure. I can't really pinpoint anything, but I mean, yeah. I mean, the last amazing horror movie I've seen was Antlers. I don't know if you saw that.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, that movie was pretty good.
Have you seen Clint? You know Clint Carney, correct?
Yeah, yeah, we're friends. Yeah.
Yeah, Dry Blood. I absolutely love that movie. Had you seen that one?
I feel bad because I've never seen his movies. If you actually watch Poisoning, the Steps of Babel, there's paintings in the background in the church, and those are his paintings.
Oh, okay. Now I need to go watch that again.
Yeah.
So what is kind of the future of the band sound like? Are you going to continue in this more kind of industrial sound, or do you have some new things in the mix?
I think the evolution of Dawn of Ashes has kind of reached a place where I feel comfortable with it. I definitely would like to write a lot of heavy tracks, but definitely the industrial will be in there. I just, I kind of like blending, the extreme metal side with the industrial side. I feel like they complement each other really well. And I feel like for some bands it's really hard to do that. There's not really too many industrial extreme metal bands out there that I could think of. I mean, there's industrial metal, but I can't really think of any that are like extreme metal that blend with the whole like industrial thing.
Yeah, I talked in a previous video about trying to create something, that had kind of the edginess and the speed of black metal, and then having the kind of the aggression of death metal and hardcore with a lot of synthesizers and stuff. And I had that idea back in around 2006, and you guys did it. So I'm glad it
Yeah, I mean,
exists.
like I said, it took a lot of experimenting. Um, it's definitely a interesting combination, but if you do it well, it sounds good.
I watched a previous interview with you, and you mentioned that when you kind of changed sound, you pissed off some of your fans a little bit, maybe. And in that same interview, you said that you only do what you want to do. But with that said, do you ever feel obligated to do things in a certain way or to incorporate certain things in your music?
I mean, I do things to please the fan base, but at the same time, I need to make myself happy too when I'm doing this type of music. And I just, when we were doing the whole agrotech thing, I reached a point where I was like, I don't know how long I would want to do this for. It's just like it's cool, but I want to do more. So I get it, the older fans like a certain thing, but I feel like I've heard a lot of agrotech bands that came out after the era that we were in back in the early 2000s, and it's just very I haven't really heard anything that kind of was like, oh, this is different. It all just sounds the same. And I just feel like there's only so much you can go with that sound. And I feel like change is necessary. I like when bands change and they don't always have the same sound. I feel like the only like there's like a couple of bands that I can see that can do that and pull it off, like, Hatebreed or Slayer or something like that. They always have like the same consistent sound. But I like to see when bands evolve and start doing new things.
That's always kind of a dangerous trek. Um, but I'm glad you guys did. I think the agrotech thing, like you said, has limits, and there's only so far you can take it, and it has a very limited fan base, I think. But I think blending the styles kind of opened you up to a whole new audience.
Yeah, I remember when we first kind of did the crossover to metal, and there was all these irate people saying that we were selling out for money, and I'm like, we're not fucking making Justin Bieber music. We're making extreme metal. It's not like like you're not going to become a millionaire off of fucking doing extreme metal. So no, it was more of like a personal want that I wanted to do. It was the same thing. I started off using a vocal processor, and I'm a metal vocalist. And like I was sitting there like one show, I'm like, why am I even fucking doing this? I don't need this thing. And I always feel like those vocalists that have these vocal processors that like depend on it. I get it. It sounds cool, but like, what do you do if the thing fucking breaks on stage? You're fucked. So, you know,
Yeah, we talk a lot on our channel about the authenticity of music and the rawness of it. and how a lot of bands are going to the way of click tracks and all that. Do you guys do any sort of that type of stuff, or do you guys try to keep it as raw as possible?
No, we definitely have backing tracks on stage. You know, I mean, we have like crazy orchestras going off and you know, over like 50 keyboard parts. We have one guy, you
Yeah.
know, one guy can't pull all that. So it's, you know, the backing tracks are definitely a necessity.
And I watched the drum cam that you guys released. It's refreshing to see live drums in electronic music. When I saw God Module, they had a live drummer. You know, you just don't get that the same feeling with electronic drums.
Well, we have
So
both. So we have two drummers. So we have acoustic drums and then electronic drums. We have like, I mean, six people on stage. So, and then the our guitar switches off from keyboards to guitars. Again, you know, I'm very heavily influenced by Nine Inch Nails. So, you know, I've watched, you know, Nine Inch Nails from the 90s, and there's just so much going on stage, and it's awesome.
it's everybody's pretty multi-talented in the band, I take it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So I would ask you, what is the best song you think you've ever released and why?
Hmm. I mean, there's a few, but right now I'm just very on Scars of the Broken. So I've right now I'm really, because I just performed it, or we just performed it in Germany, and it was just like Love is Asphyxiation is definitely has to be one of my favorite songs right now. Just because it's, I mean, when we performed it, it just sounded epic as fuck on stage. The Despondent Hole is definitely another one. But I guess going back to older songs, Spirit of Anger is another track. And one of my favorite albums is Theophany that we've done, because I like I feel like that's where we actually incorporated black metal with industrial. And um, Enter the Vortex is another one of my favorite tracks. We're not performing that one, but I love that track.
What did you think of the German audience? I spent some time in Germany. I've been to shows, and I know they love the industrial music. How are you guys received over there?
I mean, it was pretty surreal. I mean, the fucking place was packed, and every single person, everyone was like just, it was just intense. And it just like I wasn't really stoked about going on tour or playing Germany. And then we did that show, and it kind of created this spark in me again. I've been kind of, ever since Scars of the Broken, I've been kind of, I lost a lot. A lot of the spark in me has kind of just died. And I honestly was kind of like contemplating of even just kind of leaving Dawn of Ashes, because that whole experience, and then when we performed Germany, it was just kind of like, holy shit, this feels great. You know, I need to keep doing this.
Yeah, I saw VNV Nation in Mannheim, Germany, and it was just packed wall to wall, front to back.
All right. It was great.
Is there any other places like that stand out to you, or some of your favorite places that you've played at?
In America or overseas?
Either one or both.
Um, Prior to the pandemic, we played Poland, and we played the Castle Party Festival. That was awesome. Like, we played in a giant castle. Like, the stage was in a castle, so it was actually the castle where the author of the Witcher wrote the books. So that was pretty awesome. I really like playing Denver for some reason. Denver, it's just people just are go nuts there. There's certain areas of America that are more, they go crazier over this type of music than other places. And every time we play New York City, it's pretty intense. Mexico, our fan base is just, they're fucking psychotic down there. So definitely like going there.
Yeah, I heard you were looking to play in Japan, and I've been to shows in Okinawa, which is essentially the same thing, and it's totally different there. I mean, there'd be a band up on stage covering Morbid Angel, and they just sit there and they watch, and it's over, and then wait for the next one. It's the strangest thing.
Yeah, but they're like diehard music fans there.
Mm-hmm. Lots of talent over there.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you have any favorite bands that you've toured with, like just enjoyed being with them? Or don't you have very much interaction with the other bands?
Well, obviously touring with Demu was definitely a highlight because that's one of my all-time favorite bands. So that was, a really great experience. Are you talking about like opening acts or just in general?
Just in general.
Mm. I mean, we've done festivals with certain bands that I really like, and we performed with Lord of the Lost in Poland, and I really like their music. Um, I can't really think of anything besides Demu, that just because. Oh, we played with the Acacia Strain and Suicide Silence before uh Mitch or Mick died, and that was cool. We played with Suffocation. Yeah, I remember when we played in Germany, we got off stage and our booking agents like, dude, you guys got to play more metal festivals, because I feel like even though we're industrial, we're a metal band. We are, no matter what anybody says. Especially like if you see us on stage. I've seen industrial bands where it's just boring as fuck. It's just like some person standing behind a keyboard and the singer's just standing still. It's like we're not about that. I grew up in the hardcore scene. I like to interact with the fans and that whole energy between the fans and me. I never like to stand still. If I ever stand still, I know I'm not doing a good job.
Should you prefer smaller venues or larger venues?
I mean, I guess it depends. If it's a larger venue, I'm always in the crowd. So if it's, a smaller venue, there's more personal interaction between me and the crowd. So I think they both have their charm in a different way.
So if you could have your fans remember one thing about you, what would it be?
Hmm. I guess our live performance and then the shock value, the theatrics and the shock value and the controversial content that we put out. But I mean, the energy of our stage performance is definitely probably a very crucial part about Dawn of Ashes.
I would say you've accomplished that with me. That concert in 2010 was pretty memorable. It was eerie. It was there. I've been to a lot of shows, but there was a certain atmosphere about that was just eerie, and it set into my psyche, and I absolutely loved it.
Which show was this? Where was that?
This was Detroit in 2010. And then I tried to see you guys again in South by Southwest in Austin. I think it was 2012.
Yeah, that's where we played with the Acacia Strain.
Whoever put that together, they didn't tell the audience where anything was playing, and there was venues all over Austin. And by the time I heard you, there was a line outside because they were at max capacity and I couldn't get in. And I heard the last song and then you guys were done. So I didn't get to see you guys again.
Are you guys gonna come to any of the shows while we're on tour this time?
Are you coming to South Korea?
Oh shit. Is that where
Yeah.
you're at?
That's where I'm at.
Probably
I
not
thought
on this tour.
I might. I believe you're coming to Minnesota. I want to say September 1st or something. I can't remember the exact date, but I believe you're stopping in Minnesota. So there's a good chance that I might make it.
I don't even know all the dates, to be honest.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of shows out here. There is a South Korean black metal band called Dark Mirror of Tragedy. It's pretty interesting. I'd recommend checking it out if you hadn't heard of it. But they seem to be pretty big around here.
I'll check it out.
But yeah, you're always welcome here if you want to come. We need shows. COVID and everything else, like nothing has happened around here in like 2 years.
Really appreciate you taking out time of your busy schedule to sit and chat with us. I have I'm going to put you on the spot for my last question. I started this YouTube channel in order to discover new music, not necessarily new music, but new to me. I wanted to discover some classic heavy music that I wasn't familiar with. So my last question is, do you have any band or song recommendations for us to listen to and maybe react to on the channel?
Yeah, actually I do. I have to find it because I keep forgetting their name, but I'm obsessed with the song. So, 1 second. They're called Absent Embody, and the song called is The Half Rising Man, and it's members of Neurosis, Igor Cavarel, can't ever say his name, Igor from Sepultura and Soulfly, and I forgot what other band members, but they're called Absent Embody, and it's actually inspiring me to write a new DOA album and kind of have sort of a sound like incorporating some of the elements of this, because this album's so fucking good. The album's called Plague God.
I hadn't heard of that one.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's going to be, we'll probably check out that pretty soon, huh, Chris?
Yep.
And you mentioned that I recommended it.
Absolutely.
We will. Well, once again, I guess thanks a lot for being on the show, and thank you to our audience for watching this interview, and we will see you guys next time. Rock and roll.
Cool. And yeah, I watched the review of the song, and it was pretty awesome. The one thing is, you're saying the lyrics to the chorus wrong.
That me?
Yeah. I was like, you're saying something about the chorus. I was like, well, one, you're not saying the lyrics right.
Busted.
It's all good. It's not like we posted the lyrics. Anyways. All right, guys, I'm gonna relax, but yeah, hit me up whenever you guys want to.
Okay, awesome.
All
Thanks.
right, cool, man. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Yep. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.